Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm glad you're back for another episode of the Prolific Mindset Podcast. Hope you guys had a wonderful week, a blessed week, a safe week. Hope you guys enjoying yourself today. Executing what you need to execute. Hope you guys got them daily affirmations out when you got up this morning. Love yourself, talk to yourself, bless yourself because it's all about you at first, and everybody else will feel the love. I got one of my good friends here today. I'm gonna tell you a funny story how me and him met. So we was at one of our guys' birthday party. We was at a guy birthday party, and we had all paid a bill. We threw all our cards inside of a hat. We had to throw all inside of a hat, and we didn't realize everybody had this, like a chase card. So we just once the bill was paid, we ducked our hands in there and pulled it. So I'm going to the gas station. I'm just like, I'm not even looking at name on the card or anything. I'm just pulling in and out, in and out. I'm like, come on, man. I said, what's up, this? I look in here and I saw it was Eugene name on it. And I was like, okay, cool. Now I got to go back and find every person. I got to go to Eugene. No, I had Dean, if I'm not mistaken, Dean. I had Dean's. Then I went to Dean's house, and me and Dean now are good friends. Funny how that works out. Me and him started sitting down chopping it up. I give him his card back. Now I have Eugene card. So I was like, damn, who got my card? They said Eugene. So had to leave from where I was for a lot of that. And when I went to Aventura to go find him, I go to Aventura, me and him chop it up. We started talking, and next thing you know, we became good buddies. And now me and him kick it. We talk, we chop it up. He shoot ideas off me. He motivates me. He pushes me forward. So I wanted to introduce you guys to my good friend, Eugene.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for blessing us, man. I had to tell that story because I felt like I was running around everywhere to get that damn card back at somebody here. I thought Dean had my card. Then when he had yours, I was like, it's funny how the universe works.
To be honest with you, I'm really upset that you called me only 2 hours prior because I was pulling into dinner at Il Molino,
Right.
and I would have put on your tab. If you haven't called me,
Oh, you to use that card.
I would have used your card by accident,
I was
but
trying to.
I would have saved $400 or $500.
You had a meal. I was trying to use gas. I should have thought bigger.
See?
I should have thought bigger with
When
Dean
you
card.
called me, I was like, oh, man.
That's funny. But yeah, me and Eugene chopped it up, and then I didn't realize he did whole life insurance. And I didn't know the importance of whole life insurance at the time. I was always taught by term. I wasn't really educated until I sat in front of this man here and NFTs at the time when it was jumping.
Well, we won't bring that up.
No, no, no,
It's a bad word right now.
no.
Gotta wait a couple of years.
It was. I think it was ahead of his time. NFTs was just ahead of his time, but. He sat me down and he was like, Rick, I'm going to educate you on this. And the one thing I loved about how the way he educated me, you had to repeat shit back to him. It wasn't no like how most people be like, yeah, I understand. Nah, he was like, repeat it back to me. Tell me what I said. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay, cool. I really have to understand what he's saying. Then he helped me learn how to use my MacBook. And I got an old version. That's when he made me learn, you got to learn how to use Chrome because I had to do NFTs. But yeah, back to what he was teaching me. He was teaching me about whole life insurance. And I know a lot of people out there don't know too much about it. And I know they usually have salesmen that go out there that teach you term insurance. But today we're going to learn about whole life insurance. And it's affordable to everybody, but we need the education first to understand why we are doing this in this space and why we are purchasing it for our families. But we're going to let him explain a lot more because he put me on game. So now I want to put you on game. So Eugene, man, just give us the surface right now about whole life insurance, and also I'm gonna say this is a two-part question. Give us the surface about whole life insurance, and tell us why is it not on commercials or it's not in newspaper. It's not pushed towards the everyday American to don't worry about term. We need to get you whole life insurance, and why we need whole life insurance.
Well, it's a two-part question on your end.
Yeah.
But, the reality of it, it is pushed on Americans, but it's pushed the wrong way. Whole life insurance is a product that's been around for hundreds of years,
Right.
and it is just permanent life insurance. So when you're buying life insurance, you can buy two products basically. You can buy term insurance, which is you buy a period of years,
Right.
and during that period of years, a life insurance company promises to pay a benefit to your beneficiary. If you die within that period of time, they will pay the benefit.
Right.
If you outlive that period of time, you lose the money. And it's a gamble. It's a gamble, and you're saying, hey, God forbid something happens, I'm a provider for my family, and I will, if something happens to me, the company will pay into my family. It's a great product for young people who are starting families, who are breadwinners in their families, and it's extremely, I don't want to use the word cheap, but it's very cost efficient.
Right.
It's the most amount of death benefit you can buy for the cheapest amount of premium. I'll give you an example. I just did a policy for most of my business is pro athletes, obviously. That's
Right.
got connected. So I just did a policy for a young professional basketball player. He's 22 years old, healthy. It's roughly $800 per $1 million, right? It's not expensive. But the chances are that after 20 or 30 years, he will still be alive. And what happens then? What happens when you are 50 years old? You still need life insurance. You still got 30, 40 years left in life, right?
Right.
But now you are older. You are less healthier. You're a little bit fatter, right? You might have issues health-wise. And are you insurable? Well, if you are insurable, the premium is now exponentially higher.
I want to cut you off. What is insurable? What does insurable mean?
It means that is the life insurance company want to even put you on risk?
Right.
Do they want to commit to insuring you?
Right.
Right? Because now you're older. Now, if I buy a 20-year policy at 50 years old, now I'm insuring it into my 70s. Chances of dying is a lot higher, right?
Right.
So now the premium becomes higher. And that's where most people don't understand. So what happened is your term runs out, you're 50 years old, you call an insurance broker, and a broker says, well, you can buy a 20 years old. Well, now I feel like I'm going to live till I'm 80. I want to buy something into my 80s, to my 90s. Well, there's no product like that. There's a permanent insurance, which brings me to talk about the second product, permanent life insurance. It's a much higher premium, but the death benefit is permanent, which means that the insurance company goes on and commits to paying the death benefit anytime you die, which is permanent. However, the caveat to this is the premium is much, much higher.
Could you explain what a premium is?
How much money you're paying per death benefit.
Okay.
And then it gets a lot more complicated, right? You can pay the premium for 100 years, which is your whole life. You can pay the premium for 20 years. You can pay the premium for 15 years. You can pay for 10 years. The shorter amount the premium, the shorter amount the length of premium paying,
Yeah.
the more expensive it is to pay. It's like a house.
Right.
Right? You're into real estate, right?
Yeah.
You know the difference between purchasing a 30-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage or buying house cash,
Right.
right? The longer the mortgage, the cheaper if I buy the house cash, right? So if I have this house and the house is $1 million and I pay cash for it, I have to pay $1 million up front. If I buy it for, a 50-year mortgage, I put 20% down, whatever, $200K, and now I'm paying X amount of dollars.
Right.
If I want to buy a 30-year mortgage, I put $200K down and I pay a lot less. But over time, I'll pay more for it. So what happens is the shorter the length of premium is, the more expensive the premium is. That policy internally, every year you don't die, builds cash value within that you can start using as a living benefit.
Right.
And the sooner you start the policy, the sooner the cash starts accumulating.
What age would you prefer people to get permanent life insurance?
I am a big advocate for buying it for the kids. So when your kid is born, buy them a whole life policy, pay it for 12 years. By the time the kid is done, the policy is prepaid. The cash value is there.
Right.
And now you can pass it down to your child when they're 30, 40 years old.
I know I'm old, but like you prefer an 18-year-old, 20-year-old, or what part of life would you prefer? Like, I don't know. And what I'm trying to say is like when you have the money, or when you have a 9 to 5, or if you come in a lump sum of money, like what part of life you prefer an everyday person to say, yo, I think this would be the perfect time for you to get. And there's no such thing as a perfect time,
Yeah.
but
Unfortunately, it's not an everyday person product.
right,
It's an expensive product. It's a wealthy person product.
right,
And it is, the sooner you buy it, the younger you are, the cheaper it is, the longer time frame you have to accumulate the cash within the policy, and the more benefits you're getting it. The longer you wait, the more expensive it becomes, and the less cash it accumulates
right.
internally. So my suggestion is always, once you're able to start making some money, I would look into buying a permanent life insurance product.
So would you call this a wealth building tool?
It is a wealth building tool because here's why. It is what there's so many benefits from it, but think about it like this. If you buy a permanent life insurance product, right, and you know when you pass away, and we're all going to die, right? Like that's the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah,
right? We want to live forever, but we're all going to die.
Right.
If I know that I'm going to die whenever, and I have a permanent death benefit that's going to have an influx of capital into my family, into my kids, into my grandkids, when I die, I know I can live and spend my money however I want.
Right.
Because at one point, when I die, my family's going to get an influx of capital. So here's what happens. So I grew up pretty poor, right? So I'm an immigrant. What happens in a poor communities? A person dies, and their family goes into debt, right?
Right.
You have to bury somebody. It costs $15,000, $20,000 to bury somebody. So most people don't have that money, so they put on the credit card or they use their savings.
Right.
But what happens in a wealthy communities is that when somebody dies, their family or their trust,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Another debt level conversation, right? Putting
Right.
stuff into your trust, right? Their family or their trust get an influx of capital, not to just pay for funeral, but to now infuse the family with more capital to build, to buy real estate, to buy businesses, so with every death, there's an influx of capital into the family.
Question. So I don't know if you see this on your social media. How do you feel when you see somebody like, okay, celebrity or something like that, and they end up passing away and they didn't do this, and now you see a GoFundMe page? How did that make you feel? Because that shit make me cringe because you taught me about it, and you saying how would it help my family, but when you see somebody else now they're saying GoFundMe, I'm like, how you not learned about this, or how would this not available to you?
When I see a GoFundMe page and this person had a wife, a kids, I immediately think irresponsible. That's all. I believe that if you have people depending on you and you say you love your family, why wouldn't you want to make sure that your family is protected? Here's the reality. We all have goals, ambitions, aspirations. You do, I do, right?
Right.
And in a perfect world, I am building my insurance company. And
What's the name of it?
Opulence Insurance Group.
Okay, y'all heard it here first.
So we're building this company, and I'm going to accumulate clients. I'm going to grow. And I have a vision that, I want to be the best insurance company in the business.
Right.
And I'm going to build it, and it's going to be great. And I'm going to retire. I'm going to enjoy life, and then I'm going to die. But the world isn't perfect. Things happen. Accidents happen, illnesses happen, unfortunate deaths happen. And I have a significant other, Stephanie,
That's
well.
my girl. Hey, what up, Steph, girl? I hope you're doing good today, girl.
If I say I love Stephanie, and Stephanie is my partner, and she is thinking that we're building this life together, but then my goal comes up short. If I love Stephanie, why wouldn't I want her to continue to live a good life that I'm building for her?
Right.
That is what life insurance does for me. My life insurance policy makes sure that if God forbid I don't get to the finish line of my goal, the people that I love and I care about, Stephanie, my mom, my sister, my nieces, right? They're taken care of because I'm the breadwinner.
Right.
So if the breadwinner is no longer able to make money, my life insurance policy will make up the difference. That's all the purpose of it is, right?
Right.
So I have some term insurance because it's cheap death benefit. And then I have permanent insurance because I don't know when I'm going to die.
Right.
So what happens if I outlive my term? We can talk about your insurance, right?
Right.
It's your podcast,
Yeah.
right? Okay. You have a permanent policy and a term policy.
Yeah.
Which one's more expensive?
The permanent.
Of course. Which one has more death benefit?
The term.
Okay. What's the term for?
Oh, damn, what is it? 20?
No, we won't talk numbers.
Okay.
The term is for your family.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, yeah.
God forbid something happens to you tomorrow. And now your wife, who you love very much so, we got to say Jaleisha, right?
Hey, baby.
And your son Ryan,
Short guy, big back.
they can continue living the life that Ricky has built for them, right?
Right.
But if you outlive it, the term, then you can continue. But what happens is when you're older, what happens when you're 60? You're a big guy. You played football. Insuring guys like you is expensive. You won't ever need insurance because when you were in your early 30s, you bought a permanent policy. And by the time you're 60, the premiums that you've paid into it are all there. It becomes free insurance. Sure, there's there's opportunity cost of you could have invested the money and maybe you would have made more money in it, maybe. Or maybe you wouldn't have. Maybe you would have lost it. That's where insurance does. It's planning, it's caring. You care about your family and you're building for them, and you get for a very small price a peace of mind knowing that they're taken care of no matter when something happens to you.
So basically, be secured to take care of you and your family.
Yep.
I've seen this on a few because I love history. The Roth family. I see a lot of the DuPont, Medici, and all of them. Did a lot of those people use whole life insurance to move wealth down?
Of course.
Down it. I mean, not move it down, to keep it continuing in their families.
Let's talk about that. So, what happens when you die and you are worth $50 million? The government takes a piece, right?
Right.
So, what is it called?
Oh, please. I don't know.
Estate tax.
Okay,
We've talked about it,
okay,
right?
okay.
So what happens? So so let's use you for example. You worked really hard. You played the NFL.
All right.
You've made money. You've accumulated wealth. You've built the wealth, and you've built it to, let's say, $50 million. When you die, if you don't have proper planning, the government then says, hey, you owe us X amount of dollars, whatever the estate tax is at the time.
All right.
And let's, for easy math, it's not 50%, but let's just call it 50%. If you die and you don't have proper planning done, The government will just take 50% of your $50 million. So now your family's getting 25,
Right.
which is great, but you work hard to get to 50
The
million.
50 million, yeah.
And you're dead. And you're not there to argue or say, hey, wait a second. Why are you taking all this money? They're just taking it. That's how it works. It's called an estate tax. Well, the rich and the wealthy people, they have proper planning done via trusts and life insurance. So what you do is you create what is called an irrevocable life insurance trust, an ILIT. Within that ILIT, the ILIT buys life insurance. The life insurance is on you. But the beneficiary is your trust. The trust is outside of your estate because it's irrevocable. When you die, the government still is going to tax you, but now your ILIT is getting the proceedings from your life insurance policy
Right.
to make up the estate taxes. And now your family is getting, instead of $25 million, they are getting the $50 million.
Because the insurance took it, because it covered the gap.
They cover the gap.
Right.
But costs money. Trust costs money.
Yeah.
Insurance costs money. The sooner you do it, so what you read about the Rothschilds and the wealthy, truly wealthy families in America, what they do is when their kids are born, they create trusts, they create permanent life insurance policies when they're born. That's the cheapest way to do it. And now you start creating a pyramid and a hierarchy of there's a monetary value on every life in the family.
Please.
It's morbid. It's morbid, right? But
Right.
it's money. It's just math.
Math we need to know. But guys, please look this up. Go on the internet. Do some studying on Rockefeller or those wealthy, ultra wealthy family, or just wealthy family in general, and look at how either term or whole life has benefit their family from birth to death. And this is very important. This is very, very important. Just do the research, look it up, find somebody, and see how it can benefit you. Don't use the excuse saying I can't afford it. Don't use the excuse. I don't care if it's even term insurance, because like you said, and I hate when I hear when I first met him, he used to say death like that shit was just a nice word. But it's a word of reality. We don't know when we're going to die. We don't know when we're going to happen. We can walk out the door, get hit by a car, and we can't control what happened, but we can control how our family moves forward by doing the correct planning now. And it takes time. Yeah, it takes money, but you're not, and sometimes I always say this to some people, that it's kind of selfish, but it shouldn't be, because this is something that we need to sit our family down with our loved ones and everybody and start really going over this, even our kids, for future, for when they can do it for their kids also, because this is going to be very beneficial. So, question. So, because like I was saying earlier with the GoFundMe page.
Yep.
When I see people do that, it makes me cringe. But even if you can't afford the whole life insurance policy, you will prefer somebody else. Go get term. And yeah, let me just say that. Go get term.
Term is you showing that you care for, like, in my opinion, you have a car, right?
Right.
Are you required to have life insurance? I mean, required car.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a house?
Yes.
If you have a mortgage, you're required to have home insurance.
Correct.
Okay.
I see what you're getting.
Why are we not requiring
Yes, I see what you're
families, once you make a human and you are responsible for that human, to obtain life insurance?
So you feel that should be a requirement
It should
at
be a
birth?
requirement. If you have a child prior to them getting to age 18, that's the number we use for adulthood, right?
Right.
It should be a requirement for parents to have life insurance. If you choose to have a child, and look, there's plenty of people on the road. You know, Miami is a shit show
You ain't
when it
lying,
comes
boy.
to driving. There's plenty of people that, break the law and they don't have adequate car insurance. There's plenty of people that say, hey, I'm not going to have home insurance. There's people that don't have liability insurance. I'm sure there'll be people that say, I'm not going to get it. But there should be a law. But here's where you go the second level of this, is that I also think that if you create a law where everybody has life insurance, if you have child, it's an easiest way to have families get out of poverty. And we don't want that. The government doesn't want that.
They mess up the balance.
That's the
The
balance,
balance they create, yeah.
right? We want, well, I mean, that's a different conversation,
Yeah, yeah,
right? But we want the poor to stay poor, right?
yeah.
But if I have a life insurance on every single person, if you have a child, which means that when you die, if you die early, your child now gets money to do what they want to do, is to go to college, to get educated, to buy a business, to start a business, to buy a home. What happens with a lot of poor people? They can't afford to buy their own house to build equity. They can't buy a business to build equity. They can't buy, they can't start a business. So now they're forced having a job and having rent and to do the things that allow you to stay within the poor community.
Right.
Right? This isn't a white, black, Asian. This is just poor as poor.
Right.
Right? If you put a life insurance policy on every adult who has a child, over 50 to 60 years, it would eliminate a lot of poverty questions.
True.
Because if you are a kid that lost your parent young, and now you're staying poor because you have a single mom or single dad who doesn't have the money to do what you need to do, now they do have the money.
So that's one less person in poverty, and that's one more parent that thought about the future.
Yeah. If you have children, it should be mandatory to have life insurance. Period. No questions asked.
People, we need to understand that we got to do it because we're benefiting our kids, we're benefiting our future, we're allowing the legacy of our name to continue and going down and down, and we don't want it to stop because I feel like at times when people don't get this, I feel like poor are cloned people. One person seen that, one person seen that, another person seen that, and they keep repeating it.
Yeah.
So when is it not going to be repeated? When is the chain going to be broken?
Let me ask you this question. What would happen to your family? How old is Ryan?
9.
Okay. How old is Jaleisha? We won't say it.
We won't say it. Yeah, I want to get.
She's young. She's young. Let's keep.
She's in her prime. Yeah.
Okay. What would happen to them tomorrow if something happens to you? Can they continue to live the life that you built for them?
Yes, because I made a smart decision by
If you
getting
didn't.
it. Like I said, cloning, going backwards, going backwards.
Now you want Ryan to live a life better than what you've lived, right?
Right, correct.
Okay. You want him to go to college.
Right.
You want him to have a business.
Correct.
You don't want him working for somebody.
No.
Okay. Well, life insurance would allow that to happen if something were to happen to you before Ryan becomes an adult. Why aren't we requiring families to carry life insurance until the kids are 18 years old? Why do I need to insure my car? You know why? Because the bank owns my car. If I have a car loan.
A car loan.
Yeah.
A loan is required to have insurance, but a physical body is not.
Exactly. Why?
That's a whole. We can go down the rabbit hole with that one, but we can literally go down the rabbit hole with that one. But like you're saying, it is to keep us divided. The rich and the poor is poor. But at some given point, we got to find a way how to break that traditional chain or whatever it may be called to get out of the poor to get that, because I don't want to, like you're saying, it's hard to really sit there and think about it. Like, what if I didn't make that decision? What if I didn't meet you? What if I didn't get educated on whole life policy? And if something happened to me, can I close my, even though I know death sucks, but if I close my eyes, I know I'm at peace because financially they're took care of and trusting and planning and everything like that. Everybody can do this now. I know planning is not cheap, but it's a level you can start at.
It's not expensive.
It's not expensive.
It's not. It's wanting to do it. Listen.
But how would they learn it though?
You have to want to do it. I'm sorry. If you can listen, I don't have kids.
Right.
But I'm 40 and I observe a lot. And it's easy for our society to just, wham bam, make a human. There's more to it. There's more to it. If you choose to make a human, then there's responsibilities to it. And if you're not going to be responsible, then make the government make us be responsible. I drove here. You don't know if I have car insurance or not, right?
Right.
You would assume that I did.
Because you're the insurance guy.
Yes, right.
I would assume that. Now, I might be wrong, but I'm just saying you're the insurance guy.
But if I didn't, am I breaking the law?
By not having car insurance, yeah,
Okay. But I can't get caught until I get caught.
correct.
Okay. The government requires me to have car insurance. They require me to have home insurance. They require me to get a driver license if I want to drive on the streets. They require me to get a barber license if I want to cut hair. Yet we are not required to make sure that if I make a human, and this human is still in infancy stages or a child stage, and I don't have sufficient income, sufficient means to provide for this human, I'm not required, the government won't require me to carry life insurance. Like, make it make sense.
The government give us benefits, but they don't give us benefits on life insurance.
Correct. Why? Oh, that's a good point. You get free health care.
True, but no life insurance.
No life and no free life insurance.
I believe because you can't put a loan on a life. Well, that's a whole nother stuff. But you don't have to put a loan. A bank can't put a loan on a life, so they feel like there's no need for no insurance.
But healthcare, why do we need free healthcare?
So somebody can make money, and I don't know who that may be. But you can use that same money the way we move it around in politics, and I don't want to get into that. But they moving around, but not in necessary spots. And like you said, if they did,
Just follow the money. If you know the government should insure a car that you don't own, the bank owns. The bank requires you have car insurance.
car insurance, yeah.
The bank requires you to have home insurance. Why wouldn't you want to carry life insurance if you have a human, a young human? Or a wife that isn't making enough money, or you know that you care about this person, and God forbid something happens to you, and now the person that you love and the child that you love are not going to struggle and you won't be here. It's irresponsibility. That's all it is.
But it's not a thought though. It's not like a second nature thought. Negativity is, but saying I need to do this spot, it's not an everyday thought, or it's not pushed us as an everyday thought, or an idea that, hey, I need to get this.
To keep the poor poor.
So how would you think, the beginning, how to change that train of thought?
They got to listen to your podcast.
You heard it, man. You heard what this man just said. Listen to this podcast because we dropping gems and putting education in. But let's get back to him. But yeah, I just feel like, because when I hear people say it, people like, I don't know anything about whole life or term, just insurance in general. And I just feel like it's just because of repeating, because you seen your mom and dad not do it, or somebody else didn't do it. Why not you change it? And now people say the same thing. I don't have the sufficient funds, but on term, I believe it is because it's cheap. A lot of people tell me like $1 million or $500,000, just something to put in place.
$100,000 will go a long way. Insuring $100K for a 20, 30, 40-year-old is under $100. I'm sorry. Like, raising a human is expensive. If you choose to make a human, you need to follow up to make sure that now this person can continue doing the game of life
Right.
the way you want him to do. That's just what it is. It would solve crime. If people,
It would slow down crime.
most of the bad decisions in life happen either from drug or alcohol abuse, right?
Right.
Or a lack of financial security. I'm not going to go want to rob a house and risk going to jail if I have money in the bank.
Right.
Okay. But it's going to be harder for me to become a successful adult if at 10 years old I lost my parents and now I don't have money to live. It's very simple. It's when you break it down to, it's just very simple. If you make a human, there should be life insurance component to making sure that this human can continue living if you're not around.
That should be a part of when you make a life. That should be a thought in a part of making. If you're gonna make a life, you should be able to add this on to it. Not just, hey, I need to take care of the kid, give them diapers, give them formula. That comes too, but that need to be in the same line as life insurance.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be. I know we talked about whole life and term, and it's just so much more. Life insurance it could be very complex, but it's not. You have term insurance, which you rent amount of years, and you have permanent insurance that will pay anytime you die. One is expensive, one is very cheap. You can pick and choose.
Right.
It's not hard. Information is there. It's not 1970s. Information is on internet. We're sitting scrolling on Instagram all day long, looking at useless information. They can start looking information. If you make a human, you should look at information into life insurance. Period. It should be non-negotiable, in my opinion.
So that should be. Do you believe this should be taught in school at some point?
It is taught. It's on internet. Just look it up. Like it's if you it should be very simple, Ricky. It should be is if you choose to make a human, it's a choice. You choose to like humans don't just come from an ostrich dropping off of your house, right? Like
Great, that's on Cartoon Network.
right. So biology 101, you choose to make a human.
You made that decision when you laid down with them. Yeah.
Yep.
So you should you choose to take these responsibilities that come with it.
That's it.
I just feel like that need to become a thought to everybody who's willing to lay down. If you're gonna lay down, just make sure you understand the full responsibility, what comes with laying down, because it need to benefit that child and benefit you yourself too, and them living a better life if something happened to you as moving on. So I just believe we need to educate ourselves. And like he said, artificial intelligence, I'm an AI guy. You got ChatGPT, Claudia, Gemini, and all this. All you got to do is just ask, and you don't even got to prompt the shit correctly. You just need to ask this, and they'll give you a full breakdown of what steps you need to take. And he's right. We get the jogging fingers. I had one of my friends say, you get the jogging fingers or you get the stroll. While you strolling, you need to start adding on information. Like he said, we look at useful. How can I say? I'm sorry for saying it. Useless information for useful information. Useful information, I feel like in this era sounds boring. Useless information sound like the best damn thing since sliced bread, and I don't understand that. And this information right here is very fucking important. And if we don't understand it, it's gonna be too late, and we're gonna make sure our kids go through hell and beyond to figure out the information that we were responsible when we laid down to pass along to you, so you don't have to go through what I went through or our parents went through, grandparents, and so on and so on. So what advice would you give people if they want to start looking into term or whole life policy or permanent life insurance?
I would start doing some research. Internet is great. I would reach out to a local broker and understand what fits your budget
Right.
and your needs, right? That has to match. What fits your budget is very important because I see a lot in the life insurance industry, a lot of oversold insurance. I mean, that's how you and I met.
Yeah, that's how we met. Yeah.
I see a lot of that. I see a lot of people being taken advantage of and being sold some products that they don't need. Again, it's a different conversation, right?
Right.
You have to educate yourself. You have to understand it, and then find a broker that can help you with it. There's a lot. Don't quote me on this. Actually, let me look it up.
See, look, we're going to the phone. But useful information, useful. Please understand that. He ain't just doing the jog walk on the phone, looking at the next picture to like, but the information to pass along to us, because that's the most important thing to us. We need to have the conversation. The conversation need to be had. Estate planning, life insurance, term insurance, it needs to be had. If we don't, we just moving along. So continue.
So according to Google search, there's 902,500 as of 2023 life or health insurance agents. There's almost 1 million people in America registered with an ability to sell life insurance. You can cough and find one. You can sneeze and find a life insurance registered person. Now it's your job as a consumer to do your research and know what you're buying. I find that a lot of times people that have bad life insurance products don't understand what they bought. Ricky, I'm going to say this on your podcast. You didn't know what you bought when you were a player for the Redskins.
No.
You didn't. And we had to fix it.
Right.
But it started with you reaching out to me to fix it. Right? You reached out to me. I didn't reach out to you.
Yeah.
That was a want. You chose to seek information. That led to us opening up the hood, looking under the hood, seeing what we needed to be done, and we fixed it. Right? But it took some education. Right? How many calls did we have? 4, 5?
4 or 5, yeah. 4 or 5 calls.
For me to educate you, right? You had how many players? I mean, we can go into the sports route, right? How many players in locker room are willing to do 5, 6, 7 calls just on insurance?
Because it's not a popular conversation to have. It's not. So I get it. It's something like that. Question. So where can people find you at to further their education, or just look into this, or probably probably just ask you questions?
I mean, I'm big on social media.
Right.
So
what's the handle?
Insurance Guy E on Instagram,
right.
Twitter, Threads,
TikTok.
I gotta start using TikTok. I don't really use TikTok.
I don't use it either. My wife made me start using it. I still don't know how.
I use LinkedIn a lot. Eugene Dorfman on LinkedIn. I mean, if you want to get a hold of me, I'm pretty easily findable, right?
Right.
And it's just finding people and doing it. But you gotta understand it, right? I notice that people, they hear life insurance, they think it's blanket statement.
Right.
Right. So it's kind of like, if I was driving through a rough terrain in the woods, would I want to go buy a Ferrari?
No.
Why not?
Doesn't fit the environment or what we're doing.
But if I wanted to drive on a flat surface, enjoy speed, control, would I buy a Ferrari?
Yeah.
Okay, but if I want to drive fast on a flat surface, would I want to buy a Jeep Wrangler?
On flat surface?
Yeah.
No.
But if I want to drive through wood terrain,
it would be perfect for it.
It's the same thing. You have to understand what fits your needs.
Yeah.
What fits how you are, what fits your budget. If you have, how old are your kids? How much money you're making? What's our income replacement? If you, God forbid, something happens to you, do you come from money? Does your wife come from money? Will your family's life be adjusted? Those are the conversations you really have to ask, and which I ask my clients.
Right.
The first calls are always, what are we insuring? Right? What numbers? What happens if you don't come home today? That's I ask the question this on every one of my first calls. What happens to your family if you don't come home today? And I wait for the client to answer that.
Right.
Because if nothing happens, I say you don't need insurance. If you're like, hey, I got a bunch of money in the bank, we're liquid, we own property, my business will function no matter what, well, I'll say don't waste your money on life insurance. But if your life gets affected, if your kids are young, if your wife doesn't work, if your house of cards falls apart because the one card underneath the house fell over, then we need to protect that card.
Right. So, guys, you heard it here first. This is a very important conversation. Listen to this podcast 3, 4, 5, 20 times, because this is a conversation that is a must needed inside of our family household, because there's no way that we can elevate and there's no way we can expand if these conversations are not had. These are must conversation. And like you said, you know where to find them. And like you said, you can sneeze, cough, trip over one, you'll find an insurance guy. Just make sure you understand what you're getting and what you're purchasing, and not just purchasing some shit just to put money in their pocket, but making sure that we're not a victim of a GoFundMe. And I have nothing wrong with a GoFundMe page, but you won't be a victim of it because you're listening to this podcast and you're listening to a guy that's telling you what's need to happen and what's mandatory, but let's do that, man. Because I'm telling you, man, it's like the prolific mindset. Consistent elevation costs expansion. The more you keep feeding this here, the more your environment around you grows. So I hope and pray that everybody got something from this podcast. And please keep looking at this podcast because this shit is very important. And this is a must conversation inside all family households to change the future and let our name become assets and allow it to travel 10, 20, 30, 40 years, planning for 200 years of this life in your family. I thank you for tuning in today. I thank you for giving me your ear, giving me your attention, giving me your time. Hey, I don't take that for granted. I'm thankful for it. Look at this podcast and check out the few podcasts before with information that can help you and can start conversation inside the family and start a conversation with your friend. Thank you for tuning in today. The Prolific Mindset Podcast. Like, subscribe, comment, Prolific Mindset Podcast, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok. And like I said, I'm still learning you TikTok, so please forgive me. And, you know, man, tune in and check us out, man. I thank you for the day. I hope you got gems out of this. And like you said, please look him up, find him, ask questions, because this is a must need. I thank you for the day. Peace.